Hi, I'm Steve. Welcome to my shop. In this video I'm going to be doing a review of the Kündig Uniq edge sander. I've had this machine for 14 years. You've probably seen it in a number of my other videos, and I've had several requests for more information on this machine. What I want to do in this, and the purpose of this, is just to provide you information that goes beyond marketing hype of somebody trying to sell you something. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I don't make any ad revenue anymore. I just want to provide information so that you can make the best choices for your shop. So let's just head to the machine and I'll share with you my experiences and do a review of the Kündig Uniq edge sander. Okay, so this is the Kündig Uniq edge sander. I don't store belts on that, but I'll get to this later in the review. But the primary purpose for me purchasing this machine was this Veneer sanding station. And the reason I got into that is because when you're doing primarily inset cabinet doors, maintaining squareness of a door after sanding the edge was virtually impossible using the platin side of my previous edge sander. Now, can you sand all edges with this? No. This is a fairly wide opening for this platin and the two rollers, and that is right at 6 inches or 153 millimeters. So pretty much, if I've got a piece that's shorter than about 12 inches or 300 millimeters or so, I will not use this. I will go to the opposite side of the machine. The whole fence system is 38 3/4 or just shy of 1 meter length, and the in-feed and out-feed fences are 18 inches or 460 millimeters. I'll say that the dust collection, this does have dust collection from both ends, and it's really good on this side, so that's all I can describe on that. Now, one of the options I added when I purchased this machine was this Outrigger. The Outrigger, it's on a couple of slide bearings, and you can extend this all the way out. And this is for supporting larger things like large doors, tabletops, or whatever. And it extends to about 35 1/4 inches from the fence. And the length of this is 71 1/4 or 1.81 meters. The regular table is just shy of 47 inches or 1.2 meters, and the width of this is 1 foot 3/4 inches, which is about 325 millimeters. This Outrigger has some support legs with, I'm not sure whether the camera will pick this up. Let's see if I need to adjust it. Yeah, I can barely get it in the lower right hand corner. Put this up, but this has each leg has a rubber foot that you can press down to stabilize it for better support on the floor, and it also has a release, so you don't have to bend over to do that. One thing I noticed on this is that I also have the mobility kit, and whenever I move this machine, which is frequently, I have to pull this out because these casters, all 4 casters on this are swivel, and they will contact the leg and it'll be difficult to move. So that is the Outrigger. Now, as far as mobility goes, this is a very heavy machine. I don't remember the weight of it. It's quite heavy. It's quite high quality. The tires are fairly soft rubber. If you leave it sit in one spot long enough, I think it gets little flat spots in the tires that quickly go away once you start moving it. But it takes let's see, I think I'm unlocked here. It takes some effort to move this thing. Once you get it started, it moves very easily. And then it locks, 2 of the 4 casters locked, and they're on opposite diagonals. It's this caster here and the one on the other side, and it does lock securely. Now this is what Kündig calls the wood sanding station, and it's got a platen that is 31 3/4 inches or 800 millimeters long, and this does use an 8-inch belt, so it's larger or wider than most of the other edge sanders in this class. There's belt tensioning, belt tracking. The head on this tilts. Both of the tables are actually stationary, and you'll notice they're offset. The veneer sanding station side is higher than this. It does have a stop or a miter gauge, so to speak, and this has 2 positions. It's got etched markings and 2 locations, and you can do that, but you'll notice in this rearmost location it gives you most of the platen, but when you angle it that way, you get off the platen, which is not desirable. Or you angle that way, it's fine, but you can move it to this other location and pretty much have full use of the platen, and it'll go further than 45 degrees, but the scale only goes to a plus or minus 45. Okay, so this table here is 47 inches, about the same as on the other side, and 12 3/4 or 325 millimeters wide. I have installed this Eigner rail that I can put extension tables on it if I need to support a wider piece. Now there's the main power switches here. The machine's plugged in, the phase converter's on. I will say that from the nameplate information, this is a 230 volt 3-phase machine. It lists its power requirements as 4.93 kilowatts. It's got 3 motors in it. It's got a motor to oscillate the head up and down. It's got the belt main drive motor, and it's also got a motor to tilt the head. Okay, to tilt the head, there's a control switch here, there's an indicator scale on the opposite side. It's purely mechanical, and what I like to do if I'm looking for any level of precision, I will use a digital angle gauge like this, and I'll put it on the in-feed fence on the opposite side to adjust it to a specific angle if I need that. I'll also use that or a square to square up the fence on the, restore it back to normal. So in order to, this is one of the, I guess, critiques I've got of this machine, is that in order to pivot the head or tilt the head, you have to have the machine on. And having an engineering background, there's usually a reason for that. I don't know what that reason is, but I accept that it is the way it is. And I'm sure there's a good reason for it. If somebody knows the answer, hey, feel free to pipe in. I have a feeling it probably has to do with safety. Now, I'm not going to put a belt on this because that will dramatically increase the noise level, but I'm going to show you how the machine's tilted. First, you'll note that the switch to tilt the head doesn't do anything. So, but if I turn it on, now I can tilt the head. And that's about as far as it'll tilt. We'll go back to vertical. turn this on. I will zero the digital gauge. Put it this way, make sure it's vertical. And now I've adjusted it to square. One of the things you'll see other YouTube videos do on edge sanders that don't have the veneer sanding attachment is the ability to feed through a longer piece than the platen. This machine will do it. You don't have to flip anything out of the way. There's clearance here and here, so this platen is the thing that sticks out the furthest. I don't see much point in it. I tried that on my other edge sander. It just didn't give very consistent results. Okay, so to convert this and use this end sanding station, first thing you do is pull this dust collection hose off, loosen two knobs, and pull this dust collection hood off. And it does have a storage location there. Then I'll pivot this up. There is a channel here for dust collection and a kip lever on this end. Put that in place. Now you don't want to tilt the head on this. As a matter of fact, it's got a warning label to do that. But it's also got dust collection in this end sanding station. There's a channel down there and 3 holes bored in this where you can hook the dust collection back up. This does a pretty good job. Again, the light touch. This is one of those features. I use this whenever I can as opposed to the spindle sander. And to convert it back. And this is well thought out. It's integral with the machine. And you could restore it back to normal, but since I'm here, what I want to do is cover the spindle sander or bobbin sander, depending upon what part of the world you reside in. This is an onboard storage for a table. It's held on a solid steel post that's connected to the base. And you just pull the thing out. This is looks like a cast aluminum table. It does have dust collection capability as well. And let me reposition the camera up higher. But this mounts on this post. You'll notice this post is longer than the other one. That's the part that the oscillating head moves up and down. There's already a spindle with abrasive spiral band installed. And you can install this with the belt installed as well. And you just push this in place, put it down. There's a bolt here where you kind of center where the table is and just tighten this kip lever. And now you've got oscillating spindle capability. And you can adjust, if you adjust the position of the head, you can adjust where you are on this band, spiral band, or you can take the band off and flip it over and go the other way. The dust collection port just does come in here, and it's got dust collection all around. This is a pretty good system, works well. And to restore it, before I take that off, there are a couple of holes where you can put this cover on. If you have this sander here and leave that table in that position, you can cover the oscillating spindle. And just back in position. Doesn't take long at all. Store this and put your hood back on. And reconnect your hose. That's that quick and easy. But I can move this head up and down to optimize the usage of my belts. I'm not just fixed in this range down here or in the middle range on the opposite side. So I'm going to turn this on and I'll show you how to adjust the head. These are up and down buttons. You can see it goes up to about 8 inches there. And if I want to push it down, I can do that. I'll just keep holding it down. And then I'll get to the lower limit there, so I can position that thing down 3 inches or so. If I want to move it back up, I can move it up. And wherever I stop it, it'll resume the oscillation wherever that center point is. So let me raise this all the way to the top. Okay, the next operation is the oscillation controls. Now normally when I position this head, I like it at the top. It's just physically easier to install and remove the belts rather than have it buried down in the table. Oscillation controls, the machine has to be on. You'll note that I had probably less than 20 millimeters or so, roughly 3/4 of an inch of oscillation. That is the lowest oscillation setting. The highest, I think, is 90 millimeters. I can also stop the oscillation, although based on my previous sander, I don't know why anybody would want to do that, but hey, if you wanted to, I guess you could. And you do that with these 3 buttons. And I'm going to show you how to do that. First, I'll start the machine. If I wanted to stop the oscillation, I press these 2 buttons simultaneously and it stops oscillating. If I wanted to resume it, press them again and it resumes oscillation. Now if I wanted to change the amount of oscillation, I would press and hold the start button until it starts flashing. I'll do that. Now it's flashing. Now I can increment the oscillation either down or up. Well, I'm already at the lowest setting, so I'm going to go up. 4, 5, 6. I'm probably at the maximum now. And to resume, I'll just start there. And you'll just physically see how much change that operation did. So it's roughly 3.5 inches. If I wanted to reduce it, press that again. And let's say I want to reduce it by 2. And then resume. And that's how I control the oscillation. I don't typically change that a whole lot, but if you had the need to do so, say you had a particularly resinous or oily wood that you needed to sand, I can see how that would be useful. Now I used to keep a belt on this, and I live in Arkansas, so it gets humid at times. And what I noticed over time, you can see this corrosion that developed when I stored a belt or kept a belt on the machine. After I noticed this and went through the pain and effort to clean it off as best as I could, These rollers are not aluminum, they're steel, and they will corrode. And what I found is that the paper kept the humidity up against the roller, caused the corrosion, and it just looked bad. So if I lived in an arid environment, that wouldn't have happened, but I keep a belt off the machine for that reason. And there's various stick-on labels throughout this machine, and you'll notice that most of them peel up around the edges. I haven't had any fall off, but the adhesive isn't the greatest for these labels here. You don't see that with the quality inspection label, the CE label, the machine label. They're stuck on. But honestly, for a machine of this caliber, they could have used a better label for these. And I don't know, maybe one of these days I'll figure out a way to replace that with something of higher quality. But in 14 years, I have not actually had any fall off. So as far as build quality, I would rate this at 10 out of 10, other than little minor nits there. It is very heavy duty. This plate on this end is 8 millimeters thick. The opposite end is 6 millimeters thick. I've measured at least one of the sides when I had the access panel open, and it was just shy of 6 millimeters thick. It's very heavy duty. It's a very heavy machine. Overall, this is a well-built, well-thought-out machine. Everything fits together well, and other than just a few minor nits, I've been quite happy with it. It's not given me a lick of trouble in the 14 years I've had it, and it gets used on just about every project that I've done in the last 14 years, other than wood turning projects, which typically don't need this. But I don't have a lathe anymore, so I use this on every project. Okay, so that's my overview and review of the Kündig Uniq edge sander. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I provided you some useful information, and we'll catch you on the next one. Have a great day.